The book of Job. The Lord said to Job, "Can you draw out Leviathan with a fishhook, or press down its tongue with a cord? Can you put a rope in its nose, or pierce its jaw with a hook? Will it make many supplications to you? Will it speak soft words to you? Will it make a covenant with you to be taken as your servant forever? Will you play with it as with a bird, or will you put it on a leash for your girls? Will traders bargain over it? Will they divide it up amongst the merchants? Can you fill its skin with harpoons, or its head with fishing spears? Lay hands on it, think of the battle. You will not do it again. Any hope of capturing it will be disappointed. Were not even the gods overwhelmed at the sight of it? No one is so fierce as to dare to stir it up. Who can stand before it? Who can confront it and be safe? Under the whole heaven, who? The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. So in this passage from Job, we're starting to move into the part of the book of Job where God is responding to Job's complaints, and finally, kind of God comes in the picture and starts presenting his case before Job. But God's case is not one of self-defense that is trying to defend his ways; is simply one of probing rhetorical questions. And in this section, God is speaking of Leviathan, and Leviathan appears in a couple different places, especially in the Psalm, in some of the later Psalms, and we think kind of that the Israelites, when they were taken into captivity in Babylon, were kind of exposed to Babylonian creation myths, and kind of Leviathan is sort of the chaos serpent with which the gods kind of have to wrestle, and they defeat and cast into the ocean to stay there. And then Leviathan kind of has floods. Floods are kind of an act of Leviathan to try to regain sovereignty over the land. And so in this kind of deification of natural processes that the pagan peoples around Israel participated in, Leviathan is that kind of god of the chaos monster. And the Israelites, they knew that there were bigger things than in the ocean that swam in the Sea of Galilee. That there were whales out there, and that you have Jonah, and kind of Jonah's being swallowed up by the whale is kind of like a mini Leviathan. It's kind of like a mini kind of death monster that swallows Job up, the great fish. So what is the point of all this? That can you put a fish hook in Leviathan's mouth, or that wonderful image of can you put a leash around it and give it to your daughters as a pet? And essentially, this is the wonderful kind of commitment to monotheistic faith of the Israelites. That in a sense, despite their struggles with the questions of good and evil and justice and why bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people, which the temptation in the midst of injustice in this world is precisely to become a polytheist, or to kind of say, well, maybe there's this contest between light and darkness, or good and evil, and that there's a good God and a bad God, and they're fighting each other, with human beings being kind of a proxy in this proxy war between a good God and a bad God. And the Israelites, in a sense, had the courage to say, no, there's only one God. Somehow this all has to make sense with there is only one God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who is the Most High God, and every other God is a God with a small g, either not real or somehow in demonic opposition to him. And so even the Leviathan, even the feared chaos monster of the creation myths of the pagan peoples around them, the Israelites basically said, well, there might be a Leviathan, but our God is so superior to Leviathan that maybe he thinks of Leviathan as a pet, right? Or he could go fishing in the ocean and just yank Leviathan right out of the sea if he wanted to. This is Jewish chutzpah. This is just saying, listen, Your pagan myths are so ridiculous when compared to the sovereignty of the creator God that basically we're going to create counter myths in which your chaos monster, your death monster, is just a little plaything of our God, and the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So this passage from Job, and so basically Job says, "Can you catch Leviathan, Job? Listen, I'm in charge. I am in charge, and even when life is chaotic, even when it seems that evil and death are running rampant and like a bull in a china shop of the creation, I am still in charge." So Job, whatever you think about, whatever you're trying to, worry, whatever you're worrying about, you have to understand that I am firmly in charge of the creation. And so this is one of the hard lessons that Job is going to have to learn. But it's also, in the end, in the light of Jesus and his victory over death and his resurrection, we can trust in God's goodness, and that God has evil in check and has already won the victory over evil and has brought chaos, in a sense, has defeated chaos through love and mercy, which has overcome it.